This is Ogtv Comprehensive News. I am Olayinka Shodunke. Our top stories. National Assembly passes 13.5 trillion naira 2021 budget. Community policing takes off in Ogun State with 320 special constabulary police officers. Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation closes 42 microfinance bank following CBN's directive. Over 40 countries ban travels in and out of the United Kingdom. If you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way.
And coming up on the sports segment of the news, sports expert prefers solution to athletics revival. These are many more. When I return later, Hakeem Akitunde, you're welcome.
Starting tonight, the Senate has passed the 2021 budget with an aggregate expenditure of 13.588 trillion naira. The budget estimate increased by the sum of 505 billion naira from the estimate of 13.082 trillion naira presented to the joint sitting of the National Assembly by President Muhammadu Buhari on October the 8th, 2020. Investigation, however, revealed that the increase in the budget estimate approved by the Senate was sequel to the late receipt of spending request for the upscaling of the National Social Investment Program from the executive arm, amounting to 365 billion naira. A breakdown of the budget components showed that the Senate reduced estimates for debt servicing from 3.344 trillion naira to 3.324 trillion naira. The Senate offered a hint that it would expect a supplementary appropriation bill from the executive arm against the backdrop of the increase in global price of crude oil from the benchmark of $40 per barrel. Now to Ogun State. Members of the Ogun State House of Assembly have considered the 2021 proposal of the State Ministries of Agriculture and Forestry with commendation to the commissioners in charge of the ministries, Dr. Adeola Odedino and Honorable Tunji Akinyosi, for recording positive performance in their revenue drive in the outgoing year. The lawmakers, including the Chairman, House Committee on Finance and Appropriation, Honorable Olakunle Shobukanla, gave the commendation at the ongoing 2021 budget defense held at the Assembly Complex, Okemoson, Abeokuta. Correspondent Kolawole Osho covered details of his report are presented in this package.
Members and Chairman, House Committee on Finance and Appropriation lauded the two commissioners for deploying innovative ideas towards driving their respective ministries in the outgoing year, tasking them not to rest on their oars in the next fiscal year as the ministries were pivotal to food security as well as socio-economic development of the state. Giving the budget breakdown of the Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. Adeola Odedino stated that the ministry had a total budget size of 4.49 billion naira for next year, out of which 3.31 billion naira was set aside for capital expenditure, with 1.1 current, while revenue target was fixed at 212.1 million naira for next fiscal year. On his part, the State Commissioner for Forestry, Honorable Tunji Akinyosi, presented a total budget of 1.69 billion naira for next fiscal year, which comprised of 1.07 billion naira for capital projects, with recurrent having 620 million naira and 249.6 million naira as the expected revenue target for next year.
In year 2020, in terms of revenue generation, we are happy to say, despite the pandemic, we have gone beyond the 100% of the amount we're supposed to generate for the year. We have also tried to increase to the point where we will be seen as having done our best despite the pandemic. In 2021, we have been giving 249,625,510. By the grace of God, we shall come here December 2021 to also having surpassed this amount.
The lawmakers also appraised the 2021 budget proposal of the Cassava Revolution Program, Agro Service Corporation, Agriculture Development Corporation, State Agricultural Development Program, Forestry Plantation Project, Area J4, Office of the Auditors General for State and Local Governments, amongst others.
Still talking budget, the need to streamline budget heads of the State Ministry of Works and Infrastructure so as to shelve the responsibility of road rehabilitation and maintenance to the State Public Works Agency to promote efficiency and effectiveness has been stressed by the State House of Assembly. The lawmakers stressed this while examining the 2021 budget proposal of the ministry and agency at the Assembly Complex, Okimoso, Abeokuta. Correspondent Kola Wole Osho covered the budget and his report is presented in this package.
In continuation of year 2021 budget defense, embarked upon by ministries, departments and agencies, Ogun State House of Assembly has examined the 2021 budget proposal of the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure as presented by its commissioner, Engineer Debowale Akinsoya. During the exercise, the lawmakers stressed the need to move the budget aid for road maintenance and rehabilitation from the Ministry of the State Public Works Agency to promote efficiency and effectiveness. They also called for even and fair distribution of road projects across the 26 state constituencies of the state to allow democratic dividends reach the nooks and crannies of the state, charging the ministry to step up measures towards ensuring the effective monitoring of contractors handling all roads to ensure compliance to quality control, durability, and value for money.
We should try to distribute it around so that our people will be able to at least taste a dividend of democracy.
In his remarks, the Commissioner, Engineer Adesanya, said out of the total budget size of 40.81 billion naira, a sum of 36.3 billion naira was set aside for road construction and the remaining 4 billion naira for rehabilitation across the 3 senatorial districts. Engineer Adesanya, in his submission, promised equal distribution of road projects, explained that plans had already been concluded for the immediate commencement of construction works at the Aton Agbara Industrial 19.2 kilometer road, Ilishon Agoiwoye, Ofada Owode, Ikongba, Lagos Garage, Songwater, Akute Roads, amongst others. The lawmakers also reconsidered the 2021 budget proposal of the State Public Works Agency as presented by the General Manager, Gbenga Akintola, with a challenge to the agency to ensure even spread of roads to be rehabilitated in the next fiscal year. According to the lawmakers, it had become expedient for both the State Ministry of Works and Public Works Agency to have a clear demarcation of their responsibilities in relation to road construction and rehabilitation to further deliver on the mandates of the current administration in the state.
Yes, OPA's responsibility is to maintain the roads. If you have things in your own budget, sir, that relates to road maintenance, why don't you apportion an element of that cost to his own agency? Saying you are still going to subcontract that work to go and carry out at the end of the day.
Akintola presented a total budget size of 1.18 billion naira, out of which 1.03 billion naira was earmarked for capital projects and 155.6 million naira for recurrent expenditure.
Away from the budget proposal, the federal government on December the 16th approved the immediate reopening of 4 land borders which have been shut for the past 16 months, while others will undergo phased reopening on or before December the 31st. Development has been welcomed by stakeholders, with the firm belief that it will jumpstart the economy for a rebound out of recession.
After 16 the federal government has directed that land borders be reopened for economic activities, though 4 land borders at Seme, Ilela, Megatari and Mfom are to commence operations, while the remaining borders will be reopened on or before 31st December 2020. Government. This development may not be unconnected with the economic recession which Nigeria slid into due to global economic pressure. Taking a cursory look at the impact of the reopening, stakeholders were of the firm belief that it will jumpstart the nation's economy.
We cannot continue to hold sway because there are new developments and situations that warrant that the border should be open. And if even as time goes on, maybe what we need to be considering should be maybe some restrictions on certain items on the border, not a total closure, because a total closure could be punitive both to our neighbors and even to ourselves.
It's going to have a great impact on the economy because since the closure of the border, many people that has been many partakers on the trade zone along the border has been rendered redundant since then, and with that, economic along that zone would pick up, and we expect that it will be a great impact on the economy of the country.
They submitted that reopening of borders will allow exporters in Nigeria to recapture their share of formal and informal trade. The reopening will also be a boost to the nation's substantial informal economy.
It is vice versa. When you talk about business, talking about making money, you must have a buyer, you must have a seller. Presently, so many things are supposed to come into Nigeria, and people still manipulate their ways. And unfortunately, it is only the common man that suffers. Development that will increase our GDP, it will increase our trade, our profit, it will increase our economic empowerment, even now and for the future.
The opening of the border will, because it is not only illegal items that passes through the border. Legal items pass through the border. People import maize from the border, made from Benin, for local industries. People bring palm kernel. And moreover, these countries we talk about are just like a state in Nigeria. Nigeria need to play that big brother role.
Well, my opinion is that the border should have been opened before now, because the gains of the closure are very minute compared to the pains.
With the African Continent Trade Agreement due to take off from January 1, 2021, the federal government may have taken this step to forestall any breakdown. Ido Fabaju, Ogtv News.
Now, Ogun State government has reiterated its commitment to involving community members in the security sector of the state to maintain an enviable safety record. Governor Dapo Abiodun made this known during an awareness campaign on community policing lecture delivered by former Inspector General of Police Sunday Eidero at Moshood Abiola International Stadium, Kuto, Abeokuta. The event also witnessed the official presentation of 320 special constabulary police officers ready to be deployed to their respective communities after completion of their training program. Ife Sholuade reports.
Community policing has been identified as a proactive approach to ensuring safety of lives and property of the masses at the grassroots level. To this end, oriented strategy through active participation of community members and collaboration with security agencies gave birth to the formation of 320 special constabulary police to work under the Nigeria Police Force in the 20 local government areas of Ogun State.
I want to encourage all of us to support this initiative, give information. We want this policy, this initiative, to be such a shrine that another regime will not come tomorrow and throw it away.
Development can only come where there is peace and security.
Today is a lightweight campaign on values and benefits of community policing. We know that helps to illuminate the right path to achieving needed trust, confidence and partnership between the police and the people in the state.
DIG Leye Oyebade, representing the Inspector General of Police, Mohamed Adamu, and Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 2, Ahmed Ilyasu, commended the enviable feat the state has reached in the area of securing lives and property.
What we are saying is we want to be preventive rather than being reactive. We want to be proactive so that we can police the society better. And I see a new dawn where we shall get the people's police of our dream.
Community policing can be enhanced by improving behavior, attitude, relationship with members of the public, and provide quality service to members of the public and institutions.
Former Inspector General of Police Sunday Eyindero, in his awareness campaign on community information of how beneficial the project will be at reducing crime rates in the society.
It is a paradigm shift where police is not the center of attraction. Rather, the community is the center of attention.
The state governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, was represented by his chief of staff, Alhaji Shuaib Salisu, gave an appraisal of the positive results the collaborativeness will bring to the Gateway State.
You may not have monetary compensation,
immediately. But let me assure you that if you do this job very well, not only will you serve as motivation for government and police hierarchies to review and upgrade and enhance your status, including financial reward, you will also be able to stand up, have badge of honor, and proudly say, we are pioneers. And I think you should congratulate yourself being part of 16 people that have been chosen from 20 local governments.
He congratulated the first batch of community police recruits who were presented before stakeholders with a charge on them to remain committed to the security of their respective locality. Ife Shuluade, Ogtv News.
Still ahead in the news, court forecloses Maina's right to filing no case submission. Monitor report after the break. To join us again. Welcome back. The Governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun, has been awarded the Fellow of the Institute of Directors Nigeria at the annual Directors Dinner and Awards held at Civic Center in Lagos. Governor's Office correspondent Tunde Olaniro reports.
The investiture was a result of the achievements of the Governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun, in his 1 year and 7 months period in office despite the COVID-19 pandemic that prevailed globally in 2020.
I do accept with delight and sincere appreciation the award and my investiture as a Fellow of the Institute of Directors.
The Governor reeled out the administration's achievements under the Share pillar.
In the next 2 to 3 years, we aim to have about 500 totally rehabilitated PhDs. And the reason for that is very simple. One, they are the closest to the people. Two, we are about to launch our state health insurance scheme. And we are employing what we call a hub and spoke approach in our health insurance provision, which means before you begin to go to a tertiary, you have to visit a primary, who will now refer you to a secondary, and then refer you to a tertiary. So we are bringing healthcare as close as possible to our indigents.
It called for partnership between the Institute of Directors Nigeria and the state government for human and capacity building of the public service.
At the present time, I think we've had in excess over 15,000 people who have benefited from this Anchor Grants program. And let me tell you, when 15,000 people benefit, that translates to maybe about 45,000 people, because you have one person or individuals in a household. So 15,000 people is about 45,000 households. So in the area of agriculture, not only are we reaching to becoming the breadbasket of this nation, but we've also been able to solve the problem of unemployment.
The Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who was represented by his secretary to the state government, applauded the achievements of the institute despite the COVID-19 pandemic.
It is unfortunate that the current challenges have been compounded for some organizations because of the reckless looting and destruction of businesses by the hoodlums who hijacked the peaceful protests against police brutality in October. The Lagos State government has taken the lead in facilitating the recovery process by putting in place expedient measures to keep affected businesses afloat and to rebuild the state.
The president of the institute, Chief Chris Okunowo, said the institute has lofty plans for greater feat in 2021.
In difficult times like this, we are going through today, with the intertwined crisis of insecurity, COVID-19 pandemic, and a worsening economy, the country needs political leadership directed towards serving the public interest.
There was lecture from guest speaker at the event, which was COVID-19 protocol compliant. Tunde Olaniro, Ogtv News.
Dakwa Abiodun Ijebu-Remo Agenda Grassroots Movement has rounded off its meeting with members for year 2020, calling on all members to register as All Progressives Congress member come January 2021. This was the center of discussions during the gathering of Governor Dakwa Abiodun supporters, who also used the avenue to applaud the performance of the governor in their different wards in Ogun East Senatorial District. Elizabeth Esson reports.
It was a gathering of supporters of Governor Dakwa Abiodun-led administration in Ogun State at the grassroots across Ogun East Senatorial District. According to some of the leaders of Dakwa Abiodun Ijebu-Remo Agenda Grassroots Movement, who spoke with Ogtv News, the gathering is necessitated to fill the pulse of members at the grassroots on the achievements of the present administration and also for their solidarity to the success of APC.
When Governor Dakwa Abiodun assumed power, he appointed people from all opposition parties. That's why we have raised this group to give him massive support at the grassroots.
Within the last 1 year, what I've been witnessing from the administration of Dakwa Abiodun is so superb. To educate the grassroots, to let them know what the government.
The convener, Dakwa Abiodun Ijebu-Remo Agenda Grassroots Movement, used the medium to enjoin all members to be duly registered as APC card-carrying members.
We have been able to intimate APC members there that party registration that is starting January next year is a must to everybody. We also stressed the importance of every member to have a voter's card. And we have also used this opportunity to let everybody in Ogun State, especially Ogun East, to know what Dakwa Abiodun has done.
The group has as members Igbo and Hausa communities who are also supporters of Governor Dakwa Abiodun-led administration in Ogun State.
And most of the promises he gave to the non-indigent is fulfilling it. So based on that, we appreciate His Excellency. And show our support.
Members across all the local governments in Ogun East took turns to express satisfactions on some of the projects executed and completed by the governor in their different wards, thereby pledging their continued support to the administration. Elizabeth Esson, Ogtv News.
With the achievements so far recorded by Ogun State Television in giving out the best of television broadcasting and keeping with the trend of modernization in television broadcasting, the future is bright for the corporation. Two former general managers of Ogtv, Engineer Kehinde Elesin and Prince Segun Olaleye, made the submission while discussing the 39 years of existence of the corporation on the station's magazine program, New Dawn. Engineer Elesin commended the management and staff of Ogtv for a high level of professionalism, dedication, and for upholding the ethical standard the station is known for.
The personality program that you do, what's it? Two, the newspaper review. You are the first to start it. And what I used to tell people is that as an innovator, you have to be on your toes because the dictator is around. And to that extent, I believe that people have tried to maintain the tempo.
On his part said the station has gone through different stormy waters but remains strong and a force to be reckoned with across the country, which deserve to be celebrated.
For politics, that's what I'm saying. That's what it's politics, because you see, Ogtv, in terms of coverage, content of programming, using broadcasting to kind of change people's perspective about news.
Encourage the management and staff of Ogtv to continue to give their best. Now, God's act dwells on the praises of his children, hence the need for Christians to always proclaim his power and authority in praises and thanksgiving. The Setman Treasure House of God International, Pastor Olusheye Shemfuye, stated this in a sermon during the grand finale and anniversary Thanksgiving of Praise Chapel's 29th International Faith Conference. Elizabeth Esson was at the Cathedral of Praise, Mulipa Expressway, Ijebu-Ode, venue of the service.
The 29th International Faith Conference, Holy Convocation of the Church and Ministry of Praise Chapel Living Church, which commenced on Friday, 18th December 2020, was rounded off with a Thanksgiving service as congregations sang and danced in appreciation to God for seeing them through another year. Ministering at the Thanksgiving service, the set man, Treasure House of God, Pastor Olusheye Shemfuye, who charged the congregation on the theme of the conference, tagged, "The scepter shall not depart from Judah," called for total dedication of souls to the service of God. Members of Praise Chapel Living Church testified to God's goodness in the last 29 years of the church's existence.
The greatest thing we can say God has done for us is that He has increased the kingdom with souls of men and women.
Now I'm 27 years in the church, and I have a lot of testimonies. I had a lot of children and grandchildren through this church.
It's been a long way, and God has been faithful to us. If not for God, we cannot be where we are today.
It's a yearly blessing, and obviously we can see the hand of God manifesting greatly here.
There were special songs rendition by the and a guest artist. Elizabeth Esson, Ogtv News.
In view of the ongoing reconstruction and rehabilitation of Abeokuta-Kobakwe-Shiun-Shagamu Interchange Expressway by Starbeck Larlek Construction Company, there will be a road diversion at Okimoso Access in front of the Mechanic Village. The Trace Corps PRO Babatunde Akimbiyi in a statement said the inward movement of vehicles from Shagamu to Abeokuta will be diverted into outbound Abeokuta inward Shagamu at Mechanic Village down to Governor's Office Junction, where vehicular movement would be diverted back inward Abeokuta to allow for the scraping and asphalting of the road for 3 days, which is between Monday the 21st of December to Wednesday the 23rd of December 2020. Motorists are hereby implored to kindly adhere to the diversion instruction and slow down as they approach the axis. The House of Representatives are resolved to investigate the privatization plan by the federal government on national assets, especially as the already listed ones have failed to generate a maximal revenue for the country. The move is sequel to the motion of urgent national importance moved by the Deputy Minority Leader, Toby Okechukwu. Okechukwu said moved the motion on Thursday, but the House stepped it down to confirm if it would not clash with an existing probe into abandonment and sale of federal government assets. On Monday, the House revisited and adopted the motion. In the motion, Okechukwu noted that one of the most effective tools that the federal government could deploy to move the nation out of its present economic crisis is to plug revenue leakages and track its receipt. The lawmakers said the media have been awash with the news that the federal government is planning to sell off some of its assets and concession order assets to enable it to raise funds for budget implementation, revenue generation from oil. The House of Representatives has said it will take disciplinary measures against one of its lawmakers, Kingsley Chida, who called for the impeachment of President Muhammadu Buhari. Honorable Kingsley Chida is the leader of the People's Democratic Party House of Reps caucus and is representing Obio Apo Federal Constituency in Rivers State. The House Majority Leader during plenary on Monday said that Honorable Chida was not representing the opposition of the PDP caucus of the House as he claims and is acting alone. He also noted that the President's decision not to honor the House was due to the utterances of lawmakers calling for his impeachment and concerns that the President would be embarrassed if he honored the invitation. Honorable Chida, in a statement on December the 7th, called on Nigerians, irrespective of political party, tribe, or religion, to compel their representative to commence the impeachment process against the President. The lawmakers' call for impeachment is not unconnected for the rising cases of insecurity being witnessed across the country. However, the House spokesman, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, described Chida's call on as the opinion of a single member of the opposition party in the House. He said calls for impeachment were not logical as the President is yet to appear before the House to explain what his administration is doing to address the security issues. More troubles for the former chairman of the defunct Pension Reform Task Force, Abdul Rashid Maina, as the Federal High Court has foreclosed his right to file a no-case submission in a 2 billion naira fraud case levied against him by the federal government. Maina had, through his counsel, informed the court of his intention to file a no-case submission in the 12-count fraud charge slammed against him by the federal government. According to him, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, failed to link him with the alleged offences to warrant him to open defences in the matter. The judge recalled that Maynard jumped bail on his own and that the court cannot stay proceedings because of his misconduct. The Kaduna State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has arrested 148 suspected drug peddlers and traffickers in different parts of the state. The agency also recovered hard drugs of different substances including cannabis, sativa, and other psychotropic substances weighing over 3,999 kilograms from the suspects during various raids conducted in some areas of the state within the last quarter of the year. Parading the suspect at his office on Monday, the acting state NDLEA commander, Mr. Uche Ike, said they were arrested in Zaria, Kaduna, and the neighboring environment. It disclosed that illicit substances of various types, including tramadol, cocaine, diazepam, and many others, were seized from the drug traffickers, while the agency also secured 20 convictions during the year. He explained that the drugs were built for Zaria, Kaduna, and the environs before they were intercepted by the agency. While stating that most of the crimes in the state are drug-related, the NDLEA commander vowed that the suspect will be charged to court in order to serve as a deterrent to other addicts and traffickers. There is tension in Enugu State after 38 criminals reportedly escaped from police custody. Media gathered that the inmates were remanded in the custody of the State Police Command for various offences. Police sources told journalists on Monday that the inmates, numbering about 38 to 40, escaped from the police cells at the State Criminal Investigation Department inside the State Police Headquarters on Sunday night. It was gathered that those inmates were remanded by a magistrate court at the police cells during the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown. It was learned that the offenders were kept in police custody because of their congestion of the Nigerian Correctional Service in Enugu. The State Commissioner of Police has not yet confirmed the incident. In continuation of its onslaught to rid the northeast of the country of insurgents, The Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole has dealt yet another blow on insurgents with the elimination of Boko Haram terrorists. The onslaught led to the destruction of their gun trucks at Ajiri in Borno State. It was achieved through secret report that the terrorists in about 7 gun trucks had attempted to breach Ajiri, a settlement in Mafa local government area of the state. In a statement by the Coordinator, Defense Headquarters, Major General John Eneche, the Air Task Force dispatched an appropriate force package of Nigeria Air Force helicopter gunships to engage the Boko Haram terrorists. The Nigerian Air Force gunship delivered accurate hits, destroying 2 of the gun trucks and neutralizing several terrorists. On business news, NDIC commences closure of hearing 42 microfinance bank. More news and reports after this break. Welcome to Business News. The Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, has commenced the closure of 42 microfinance banks after a directive from the Central Bank of Nigeria, the CBN. The NDIC had earlier on Friday announced on its website that the CBN has revoked the operating licenses of 42 microfinance banks. It confirmed to reporters on Monday that the closure of the banks has commenced. The NDIC informed the depositors, creditors, shareholders and general public that the operating licenses of the listed 42 microfinance banks have been revoked by the Central Bank of Nigeria effective from November 2020. The Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, the official liquidator of the banks whose licenses were recently revoked, is in the process of closing the listed banks and paid their insured depositors, the NDIC statement read in part. The NDIC requested that all depositors of these banks should visit the closed banks' addresses and meet the NDIC officials for the verification of their claims, commencing from Monday the 21st of December 2020 till Thursday the 24th of December 2020. The federal government recorded a fiscal deficit of 1.29 trillion naira during the third quarter of 2020. This was disclosed in the third quarter economic report of the Central Bank of Nigeria. At 2.27 trillion naira, federally collected revenue is in the third quarter of 2020 grew 4.5% over the level in the preceding quarter. However, it was below collection recorded in the same quarter of 2019 and the budget benchmark by 22.1% and 10.7% respectively. Oil receipts accounted for 42% of the total collection, while non-oil revenue made up the balance of 58%. According to the report, the relatively low oil receipts underscored the lingering effect of the COVID-19 pandemic on oil prices, thereby dwindling the finance of the federal government. The total FGN debt outstanding at the end of June 2020 stood at 26.81 trillion naira, with the domestic and external components accounting for 57.6% and 42.4% respectively. A total of 10,106 megawatts of electricity could not be generated by the nation's power plant last week amid lingering challenges in the Nigerian electricity supply industry. Daily electricity generation in the country averaged 4,601 megawatts last week as a gas constraint and low load demand by Electricity Distribution Companies Limited power plant output. The power plant connected to the national grid produced a total of 32,000 megawatts last week, according to daily generation figures as collated from the Nigerian electricity system operator. The plant could not produce 8,924 megawatts because of gas supply challenges, while 1,182 megawatts generation capacity was left idle as a result of disclosed low demand. The government-owned Nigeria Electricity Trading PLC buys electricity in bulk from generation companies through power purchases agreements and sell through vetting contract to discos when it supplies the consumers. That was business news. Up next is foreign news on our lineup.